Hi, welcome back to the Mob Mentality Show. My name is Austin Chadwick and co-host is Chris Lucian. And today we have André De Sousa with us, and we're super excited to hear about his Agile at School and the methodology, how live coding works there, and kind of the future of the school. So lots of exciting things. But before we jump into those, André, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. First, thank you. Really, thank you to both of you for having me. It's really a great pleasure to be on your show talking about mob programming. It's kind of weird and it's impressing me a bit, but it's fine. And really, yeah, impressed by you guys for all you have done for the industry in terms of mob programming. And yeah, and also to have the opportunity to show how it's for me a game changer in terms of education, using also the mob programming method. For myself, if I can introduce myself, I'm André De Sousa. I'm a French agile coach located in Paris right now. I've been working in the agile industry since 2009, and my first job actually was a COO of my own startup. So I started as a COO, which obviously was agile. So we started working on Scrum at that time. That I was not alone. We co-founded it with two of my friends and colleagues on my master's degree. Yeah, and then I started agile consulting after this entrepreneurship experience. I started agile consulting. First as a Scrum Master, then slightly moving to work as an Agile coach since I would say 2015. Yeah, and yeah, in France, I'm known for having a French blog which is Coffee Meeting, which is a kind of blog since 2010, so 2010, about agile and entrepreneurship stuff. So yeah, it's been a long time now. And yeah, you're right. I'm the founder of a methodology based on Scrum, eduScrum, and mob programming too, which is Agile at School. And so the idea is how we can move the practices of Agile and how to put these ensemble techniques into work in the schools. And in a more personal note, just for you guys, I'm a huge I would say huge California lover, and my favorite city in California is, of course, San Diego. So might be one day I will relocate. So I know quite a lot of San Diego, to be honest, and a bit enter also because of mob programming and Woody.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah. That would be that'd be fun sometime. Yeah. San Diego is a fun place. And maybe we're forever in Paris. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I guess what I'm really curious about is maybe you said it in your intro a little bit, but how did the Agile at School come to be? Like what was the kind of the moments leading up to its creation, so to speak?
Yeah. It's been a very long journey, to be honest. I'm beginning to be interested in education, I would say, in 2014. I started, giving some trainings on Scrum, Kanban, all that stuff you can be doing as a consultant. So I started doing my trainings in my previous companies. Then the schools, the higher education schools started to come with me saying, okay, can you teach Agile? Can you teach Scrum? Blah, blah, blah. And at that moment, also, I discovered mob programming. I would say, in 2015. I was trying to remember the date, preparing this podcast with you. And I think it was in 2015. One of my previous colleagues was working for a big French bank, and he was doing an internal presentation of mob programming, saying this is something kind of phenomenal. It's working smoothly for us. We are doing it kind of unlimited, 9 to 5, not always working like this. And I was like, wow, this is so huge. Why I have heard about this before? And I tried it. So with my own teams, I was Scrum Master, starting to coach a little bit teams. I tried it. it was again so incredible. And so I saw the, you know, as always, the time lapse on YouTube that I'm using now a lot on my presentations. I put the time lapse trying to explain that because it's always, you know, as you know, it's always better a time lapse than me explaining it by my own words. And yeah, it started like this, and I then became a French advocate of mob programming. So I started to give some talks in France, in different Agile conferences. And then I had a Scrum gathering, regional Scrum gathering in Portugal. And there I met the creator of eduScrum. So Willy Wijnants was there explaining how wonderful was eduScrum, which is his method. And it was in December 2016 at that time. I remember that when I came back from this trip, my former school called me and says, Andre, you know, I was already giving some teaching, you know, Agile at the school. And they said, you know, we would like to create a coding school, you know, a little bit like Alberton School in the United States, or I think Lambda School. I think some schools of, you know, this coding boot camps, but not a boot camp. They have this big idea of creating a 5 years degree master's program around something new, a new way to work, and just, you know, for software developers. So just putting Python, .NET, JavaScript, React, all that stuff inside it. And at that time I said, okay, if you want something different and don't want, you know, just being there in front of someone who knows everything and just tells you, and you just like are there and saying, wow, so boring. I have something for you. Maybe eduScrum could be the way to go. So I presented it. The school decided to go with it. So we stick to it at that time. And in 6 months, we literally created the school. So I helped them to create the school. So I decided the teachers. I decided, because I have kind of a little network in Paris, so I decided the teachers. I decided the program. I defined the sprints. So we stick to, at that time, to 1 week sprints every time. And 1 sprint was equivalent to, you know, 1 programming language. So 1 week PHP, 1 week JavaScript, 1 week HTML, and always like this. So we put that, created a high quality space, you know, just for people staying there and being really, you know, pleasant about the space, like a startup. And so it all started like this. And at that beginning, it was not Agile at School, it was just eduScrum, you know. But when I created this, I put my own touch, you know, like I knew mob programming. So I said, okay, we need to put mob programming inside. We need to put, you know, the Google 20%, so the Google Lab Days. So we put the Lab Days, we put the mob programming, we put all that stuff. And again, with a rhythm which was blocked to 1 week, and it never changed. So I started like this, and slightly we, you know, with retrospectives, trying to turn up the good, as we say. We try to, you know, put much effort on what was working, trying also to put the students at work, saying to us what wasn't working. And then year after year, this year, I created a research paper on why it was working for us. And so I decided to call it Agile School and change, and put, to be honest, all that we were working on it. So the rhythm, the mob programming style, the lab days, even the teachers were called POs, you know, product owners. Now we call them mentors. So because of, in my idea, I would like to, you know, kind of step back from Scrum, because it's more for product or, you know, for tech industry. And my idea was more that saying that the product owner is more assimilated to a product. And I would like to step back and say, no, he's there like a mentor. He's more a mentor for the students than a product owner. So that's why I changed some little things. And that's why now we are working in Agile at School.
How,
6 years.
how much experience does somebody have, a new student have going into the school? Like what's the, I guess that, how does it lead up to it? What is the, yeah. And then I guess my follow-up question would be around the curriculum. Like what would they be learning in this environment?
Yeah. They have zero experience.
Zero experience, right?
When they start, they have between, I would say, 17 to 21 years old. For the more young, the youngest ones. So they start from scratch. They know a little bit of Python. Some students have started in the high school working with Arduino, all that stuff, Python a little bit, yeah, HTML, but not so much, to be honest. So they start knowing nothing, and by the method we put and the way we try to help them and support them, they are really, really good at the end. In fact, we say, and it's something that is now known in Paris, but our students that are ending their third year of the degree are better than almost all the Parisian schools in terms of their fifth year, sorry. And this is just because the way we work, it's really different the way the others are working right now. And we have a lot of pair programming, a lot of mob programming. The students are kind of supporting each other, and it's really impressive. The progression, the forecast we have seen since they start from scratch, and how they are able to, I would say, at the end of 1 year, 2 years. I can give you an example. The students are able to create a YouTube-like. So this is something we ask them to do, a YouTube-like in a less methodology. So the whole classroom of 20 to 25 people, students, which are, again, between 17 to 21 years old, are able, after 2 years of create, more or less 2 years, a bit less, but let's say 2 years, to create a YouTube-like, again, putting everyone in less methodology. So it's really impressive.
Oh, fantastic. How cool. What a fun project to make. Yeah. So I'm sorry if you stated this clearly and I missed it. So Agile at School, is it now literally a school? Is it a methodology, or is it somehow both or something else?
From now on, it's only a methodology.
Okay. Gotcha.
Which is used on one coding school in Paris.
Gotcha.
And the idea is that we have 2 other schools, one in Africa, Dakar, the University of Dakar. Each is talking to me, saying, okay, how can we implement that there? And I have also another teachers in high school, not in, not universities, but in high school in Polynesia. I think it's Polynesia in English. I'm not sure, but French Polynesia. I think it's that one, which are also talking with me. So the idea will be to, just spread the word and trying to implement this in other schools to see if it's working. Right now, it was tested in more than 450 students in 6 years, and it's working.
Wow,
great.
That's great. Yeah.
It's still an experience. We are still experimenting, still, improving it, and yeah.
Fantastic.
But not at school, more a method that I wanted to implement in different schools.
Fantastic. Cool. Yeah, so I was just looking at your guiding principles, and a lot of synergy with Chris, like what we call our lofty goals and things like that. Yeah, collaboration is definitely in there with the mobbing and the pairing. Yeah, how does reflection play out in the school? Like what's your cadences there?
Around, tell me again.
Reflection, self-assessment, continuous improvement, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So the how it was created, right? The self-assessment about the method.
Yeah, like did they do retrospectives as part of their as part of their project work, or how does that work out, I guess?
Yeah, sure. It's a bit like in Scrum. Every week, it all starts with again, we don't have teachers, so this is mentors. So this is people from the tech industry. So if the student come in, next week in the, I don't know, it's in the 10th September or 11th September, they will start by, I don't know, PHP. The teacher will be there. He's a professional, so he will be there coming from, I don't know, which startup or which big company or which freelance he is, and he's explaining his background first, because we really put a lot of efforts on the humans. So we really like, and students are really, identifying themselves in front of the people, the person which is there. So they have kind of a first phase in which the mentors can explain a little bit of their experience, where they come in, what they have done. And this is really humanizing, I would say. So this is the first phase. Then he explains the backlog for the week. And the week, as you know, in Scrum is a little bit like this. So it continues over and over. And at the end of the sprint, we have our Fridays afternoon, which are, or Friday, it really depends on the timing, the student class, which is a big classroom. It's not a big classroom. They are only 12 or 20, 25. But at the end of morning in every Friday, or at the beginning of the afternoon on the Fridays, they have a retrospective altogether. So mentors, developers, administrative people also, if they are there and want to participate, and they try to improve themselves. So the idea is to improve the individual, the team of the individuals, the mentor, and the school every week. So every classroom is doing it on Fridays afternoon, and then we go for lab days. So they have 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes to work on their own lab days, so their own projects, own personal projects.
So you said that the class size was larger than a single mob, right? Do you have a specific way that they divide the work or collaborate? How do they integrate with each other?
Yeah, in fact, let's say we have 12 people in the room, so 12 students in the room. At the beginning of the week, they have to decide their team. So if we have 12 students, it will be at least 3 teams of 4 people. So which means that every team is working on his own in the project for the project of the week. So if the idea is this week you have to create a Facebook on PHP, we will have 3 Facebook at the end of the week. So when they are mobbing at 4 people and not at 12, So every team is the owner of when they want to mob, when it's the best way to mob or the best moment to mob regarding their own team and not the whole, classroom. That's why we really try to stick to what you say, guys. The fact that it's better when you start with, smaller teams and then trying to improve that. And so we really stick to that, and it's working fine, really, really working fine. It's 3 to 4 people. They really like that.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, very good. Excellent. Yeah. And Chris, you asked one of the questions I was going to ask too. So that's this is really cool to hear that there's that much autonomy. Do they ever struggle with how to self-organize on any of those items, or does it just kind of naturally happen? Do they need guidance, or is it just they figure it out and struggle, or what's your observations been there?
It's a bit curious because it really depends on the personality of every student.
Yeah.
I would say that at the beginning we already have 2 months to 3 months maybe in which they are kind of lost. It's very weird way to work at the beginning for them, because they are used to sat down their entire day listening to their professor, because they were coming from high school. And so this is the way we are working here in Paris. I don't know if it's the case in America, but I think it's the same.
Yeah.
And so when they arrive there, they are like, this is me that I'm doing, I would say the first workshops. So explaining them the Agile School, the culture of the school, the way we work, what's cool, what's not cool, blah, blah, blah. And when I start with my workshops, they are kind of lost. They are kind of, just blocked, and like, well, what's this? Where am I? Is this really the school I want to work on? So first weeks are kind of confusing for them, and then this is powerful. We really see the power of what we know, you and me knows about the self-organizing teams, the autonomy, and this is really powerful. But at the beginning, it's really, really strange and weird. It takes time. It takes usually I would say 2 months, and then we really saw the efficiency of the method at the school, really.
Nice, right on. Yeah, that's a very similar curve I've seen with new hires, new interns, all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, it's you're kind of learning by immersion in a completely different approach to things, and so yes, it can be jarring, but yeah, it's fun to see them come through that curve. I see that excellence is one of your principles of the school. How does that play in? Like, what comes to mind for me is code quality, but I know it's more than that. Like, how does the school teach or instill excellence?
Wow, this is something that's really important for me, because how to say that? I find, I would say because it's a personal opinion, I find, but this is global and general, but I found that the education in France is broken. Okay, so for me, we are broken in terms of education. So we have a big problem in terms of educating right now our students, regardless, the industry they want to achieve. And what I've seen this 6 years now is that a lot of times when they come, they are kind of broken. They are there and they have no patience, or they have the patience, but it's really, immersed, and we don't see it. And we really work with them since the beginning, saying, we want you to be tech stars. We want you to be the next generation of big software developers. You could be the next Mark Zuckerberg. You could be the next, I explain that to the students, trying to show them that if they want that, they can achieve that. And this is not something that it's common in France. We don't do this till the universities. In high school, it's kind of controversial. So I think this is really mediocre right now, and that's why I put this value, the excellence, because I really tell them, go ahead, try things, don't be blocked by failures. It will happen, and that's the way you can experiment and be better. And I always push them. We always push them. When I say we, with all the mentors, we push them to really go over what they could experiment. And this was coming also from eduScrum, in which we have this thing of, if I tell you to do a RPG in a console mode, I know that if I tell them that, they will do a RPG in console mode. If I say that to them, after 2 weeks of coming to the school, you could do a RPG in 3D with Unity, or I don't know. And the guys don't know, they don't know the technology, but at the end of the week, they are so impressed by what they are really able to do, that if I was just saying do a console mode, they will achieve the console mode, and that's fine. But if I say, no, you can go ahead and dream higher, you could do it. And so that's why I would tell you, when we say to people after 1 year and a half, 2 years, okay, now you're able to work 25 people together, small backlog, just saying copycat Twitter or even YouTube, as we have done this year. They are doers, so they are doing it, and it's cool, and at the end it's really great, and the code is not so bad in terms of quality, even with their own limited knowledge of 2 years just of experience. And no, it's something that's really impressed me, and something that's really important for me is trying to tell them that it's possible, and just follow the excellence. And if you'll see the GitHubs of these guys, it's really impressive the way they are, I would say, hardworking. sometimes just to finish the backlogs, which are impossible to finish, to be honest. Sometimes we give them, no, really, we give them backlogs impossible to finish. For us, it will be 2 to 3 weeks maybe. They kind of put in the hard work mode, working Monday morning to Friday night, almost all night long. It's really scary me sometimes, it's freaking me out. But this is not me saying them, this is not me saying them work all night. It's important. No, they kind of just put in that mode of, I'm gonna kill that. I'm gonna be the best one. I'm gonna do this work and doing it well, because I don't want my mentor then to see the commits and see that the code is really ugly. So they are really working in this mode. That's cool.
Is that feedback that the mentors would give? This could be refactored, that could be tested more, stuff like that. Is that the sort of thing that they get feedback on?
Oh yes, it really depends on the mentor. But for myself, I'm less technical right now. I still technical, and I'm still coding on JavaScript and Vue.js, but just for fun. But in terms of real tech mentors, they are really doing code reviews with them. Code reviews, checking in the commits during the week, being standing with them. Maybe sometimes I have seen some mentors working in mob programming with them. So there is a kind of mob programming working on since 1 hour, 2 hours, and the mentor just sit there and works with them, explaining them sometimes some better ways to do it. And yes, it is something we practice every day. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so, yeah, kind of a follow-up on that. So the mentors are there. Are they there all the time? Are they like kind of sitting next to them all the time? Are they like in a different room? Are they in the back of the room? Like, are they, what's their kind of posture while the teams are working?
Same room.
Same room. Okay.
We like the war room style. So everyone is on the room. So we prepared the space to be an open space, with tables to sit 4 people maximum, and we have a kind of a space for the teacher, the mentor. But in reality, is always just moving around and doing kind of a Gemba walk on Kanban style, Gemba walk. So they're doing Gemba, trying to see. Also we have the physical boards. So we work with physical boards. So for mentors, it's cool because they just have to open the eyes, see the boards, and see if things are going on. Also being there during their stand-ups sometimes, stand-up meetings in the morning, because they do stand-up meetings in the morning. They are all the team, mentor plus students are in the same room. Yeah, it's working better like this.
You said you had the length was 5 years or so. Have you had any graduating cohorts yet, or is it still at that point? I guess I don't remember how long ago the school was started. So
yeah, we have. It started 6 years ago right now.
Okay.
So
great.
we have first cohort who finished last year, and this year in August it was our second cohort of 5 degrees. Master's degree of 5 years. So yeah, they are finished. And I can tell you they are there for, again, it's a school, so not every student is a killer, it's normal. But for, I would say 70 to 80%, they are already sicked in the market because of their skills on Agile. We were the first pulling eduScrum from scratch and on the roots of the school. So the school was really grounded on eduScrum at the beginning. So we were, and we still are, I think, the unique school in the world working eduScrum style, now Agile School, because we moved a bit, but this is really valuable for the students because, as you know, in 1 year they are doing, they have 1 week for a sprint, they are doing Scrum 14 times, 15 times, 20 times maybe, depending on their degree. So it's a big experience for them. It's on the CV. It's big. It's really big for them.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. It almost seems like what someone hiring is looking for in someone's experience, they'll see that happening in their degree, which usually you don't find that kind of stuff in there, which is pretty cool. So you talked about, we've kind of been through kind of the beginning, middle, and end of a student's journey. And I remember at the beginning you were talking about how they kind of enter the school, their mindset, their kind of educational experience, and kind of how that's molded them. What's kind of been their feedback and emotional state and et cetera at the end of the school? Like what's been your observations there?
From now, I've seen the students are kind of, happy with what they have done and learned during the school.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of students who have finished only 1 year ago who want to come back and, just give some talks to the others, saying, okay, I was there before, it was really great. And you have to be really focused on that point because it's hard, because it's not really easy. What I'm telling, maybe you're listening to me and you're thinking that it's really easy and the students are kind of being flawless and smooth till the end but it's not. It's really hard. Don't get me wrong. These 5 years are very hard because they are hard working a lot. And so it's interesting to see them, the former colleagues coming back, former students coming back and saying to the new ones, it will be hard, it will be very difficult, but you will be taking a lot of pleasure, a lot of fun during your 5 years. Just code, take pleasure coding, and you will be stressed and you will be a lot of nights, night shifts, but it will be great. And I have good feedbacks from people, and this is interesting because I have almost all my students on LinkedIn, maybe not all, but almost all, and they come back to me saying, "Oh, you were right about Agile on that thing. You were right about salary. We have this kind of salary. It's better than what we've seen in the industry," because they are complete. They have soft skills, they have the hard skills, and that's so great right now. This is what we need. You were talking about experience versus years of degree. This is the thing. They know that, and also because I don't know if something exists similar in America about that, but almost all of these students are working also during their school. They have a part of their time in the company. So I think it's apprenticeship. I'm not sure of this, but it's not internship because they are working, I would say, 2 weeks in the school, 2 weeks in the firm, in the company. They come back to the school 2 weeks, So during the 5 years, they have a lot of experimentation at school, learnings at school, but they are also working a lot for their own company. So a lot of them are kind of closing their 5 years and staying at the same company, or just having a big move to another better company. It depends.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. Nice. Yeah, that integration, I'm sure it helps them a lot getting a foot in the door, because that's often one of the hardest things. I had a question on mentors. So you were talking before about that a lot of the culture you've seen where you're located and also where you've seen located. If someone were a teacher, they're kind of expected to be the sage on the stage, right? And so they're just to get up and talk. So what do you look for when you're trying to hire a mentor to be part of the school? Like, how do you find these people? do you find them kind of ready to go, or do you kind of have to train them into this kind of new way? What's that experience been like?
This is something that is really important. To be honest, at the beginning, it was kind of easy for me because I was working in a French company, which was Valtech, which was a pioneer in Agile in France. So it was kind of easy for me because I had just to call back my former colleagues and say, "Oh, do you want to come at the school and teach for 2 weeks, 3 weeks PHP because you're a killer in PHP and Agile?" Yeah, sure. And at the beginning, it was easy because I had just to ask for them, and that's all. And they had the feedback, the mindset, the Agile mindset, the way to work, and I knew personally the guys, or the girls. But year after year, we grew. We started with just 2 classrooms. Now we are more than 12 classrooms 6 years later. So we had to, scale. by scaling, you need new teachers. And so this is the problem you are asking. For every new mentor, we have a presentation, and you will find it in Google. It's a presentation I have done of eduScrum at Coding Factory that I need to update this year for the Agile School. And so we sent this presentation to them. They had a kind of intern presentation, intern day with them, coming in and asking questions and working with them. So I took personally time for working with them about this. And now they start to know a bit, the pitfalls, the drawbacks of the methodology and the students, the advantages and benefits. And so it's starting it's starting to be great now. But sometimes it happens that we kind of fail the recruitment, the hiring, and some mentors don't really understand. They kind of come and think that it's just giving them a backlog, just saying to the students, oh, this is the backlog for, I don't know, HTML. Just do it by yourself. And I'm there if you need questions, if you have questions, and that's all. And this is a bad mindset, because it's not a mentor posture, it's not what we want and what we need at the school. So it happens sometimes. We try to work with them, and sometimes it works. Sometimes we fire them. We can't continue with them because they have not the mindset working that way.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. Something occurred to me. So I can see that challenge. Hiring for what you're looking for is challenging, and we know what you're talking about there. So yeah, we can empathize. And something that came up to mind too. So I see one of your principles was taking care of others, and so that goes hand in hand with mobbing and ensembling. And how do you balance that with because you were saying before, like you never told them to work overtime, but they just want to. How do you balance kind of the taking care of each other plus their zeal to work through the night?
This is really something that is weird, again, because I was not used to that. I'm teaching since 2014 maybe, and I've seen a lot of schools, and it was every time it was the same schema, just coming at 9, maybe at 9, it depends, but I would say at 9, and students coming at 9 to 9:30. Okay, so I'm late. And so at 5 o'clock, it's like, okay, thank you, bye. And students are already leaving the classroom, before 5 or at 5 o'clock just. So yeah, this is something that is weird. This is something that I call passion. I think they are really passionate about their own work. It's not happening, for all students every week. But let's say this is the Unity week, and they are passionate about gaming and video games. And I know for sure that if the project is creating by yourself from scratch a video game, they will work all night long. And you can't do anything. It's like this. They are so much passionate, and I have a lot. We have a Discord, for the school, and it happens a lot of time that the mentors of the school and myself are, answering people at 10 o'clock, 11, maybe midnight. It really happens to me to be there, and I say, guys, go to bed tomorrow. It's another day. Go to bed, just. But yeah, it's really it's really well. I think it's passion that drive them, and this is a problem because I have already seen people. Sometimes they are like not good, really not good. They are really tired. Starting on the mornings, I see their eyes. I see that they are really tired. I have already seen people that after the presentation on Fridays, the sprint review. They are just, and this is real. I have pictures of this. Students just laying down, on the open space in front of everywhere and just sleeping. This is really scary. This is really scary. But yeah, it's something that we just accept. that they can sleep when they want. But this is really weird. Again, thing that happens at school.
Yeah.
But we try to say to them, okay, be careful, take care. And also we, again, take care of each other, because we really need and want that everyone is taking care of everyone in the classroom. Also because of the harassment, also because we really, this is something really important for us. We don't want harassment. We don't want people to be judged by the others. Saying, "Oh, you're a really bad coder," that's
Yeah.
really, that hurts inside when you are starting. And so really try to say to people, if something like this happens, okay, come to us, or try to help the most you can your friend, because this is really something that we don't accept at the school. And yeah, we try. The people working full time at school is kind of taking care of students to avoid that. But again, at night, sometimes we can't do anything. It's really, again, passion.
Yeah. Well, it kind of it's interesting because you're letting that autonomy play through and the experimentation mindset play through, right? So I guess they're learning what happens if you overdo it, right? Then you're falling asleep during your presentation. Yeah. So sometimes it's good, like you recommended to them, to get sleep and start new the next day. Yeah, I think I have one more question before we maybe close this one out. But I heard you mention it earlier, kind of the 20% Google time, whatever. And it reminds me of what we refer to in our environment as kind of a dedicated learning time, or just time to learn solo or as a group, something you're interested in, or something that you've had feedback from peers to grow in. So I think I have a vague concept of what you mean by that, but how does it play out in the school? Is it like you declare from this time to this time is the 20% time, or is it just that they can utilize that whenever they like, or how is that structured?
First, this came from this book from Eric Schmidt. I think years ago he wrote a book about how Google works, and I read that, and he has this principle of I've already heard about it a bit, but it was really well explained on the book. I remember, if I remember well, and I decided, and I'm saying that in maybe 2013 or something, like 10 years ago, maybe, I read that and I said, wow, this is good. Let's try it with my team. So I tried this lab days. So I put lab days on the last day afternoon of the sprints. So when we had 3-week sprint or 2-week sprint, I tried to put that, which was really, really difficult to let us do, because as a Scrum Master, I was not very legitimate to say to the product owner, give me, half a day per 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But it happened. We tried, it worked. We used that time to, resolve bugs, bug fixes, create new tools for the teams. We kind of repaired the integration, all that stuff. Regarding the school, as I have seen in my career that it was working, I was thinking, okay, as a student, I created my own company at the beginning because I was working on it, during my school hours, but which is not cool, because I had no time dedicated to work on my own personal projects. And it was kind of a bit difficult for me, because I was like, I need to attend the school and the classroom, but I also need to work on my own project, because I feel that it will be a big project on the future. So regarding that, I decided to put the lab days on Friday afternoon, giving them this time, kind of space every week, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, to work solo, as you said, maybe, or in group, if you want to work in a group, on one big project, kind of, that you will be working year long. That could be something that you want to, I don't know, pursue on the second year, or maybe continue as a startup. And so, yeah, we started like this, and a lot of students really liked that, because it was like, them being creative, being creative and inspiring themselves about what they have seen, read, heard, and a lot of big interesting projects have appeared on the school. Some students are trying to create startups about that. Some students have just put that on their portfolio on GitHub. it really depends on everyone, but we can say that it's a time dedicated, again, half a day, more or less, a little bit less, dedicated to your own projects. If you want to read, you can read. If you want to try new exercises on one language, okay, let's do it. It really depends, but it's a time for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Andre, for joining us. We're kind of at the time here, so I'll work on closing it out. But yeah, really interesting story. So to our oh yeah, before we close out, is there anything that you'd like to share or plug before we close?
No, thank you. It was really a great time being there. Just I hope that it will be, you know, kind of an introduction for if you are in the education field. Maybe it will be something that you'll be interested in. So just contact me, or I don't know if you can contact you about this. I will be really happy to answer questions and yeah, about that.
Fantastic. Well, to our audience, yeah, if you're an educator, then definitely reach out to Andre about learning more. And if you're a potential student, especially in France, I think, then maybe look into what's going on here. And you know, to our audience, thank you for joining us. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and thanks for listening. And we'll see you all later. And thanks, Andre, for joining us. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.